Welcome everyone. Today we have Hamza, who used to work at Bain's London office as a manager, and myself, a former consultant at BCG. And together we're gonna talk about how to climb the ladder in MBB. So let's get started. Today I want to break down today's discussion into different topics. So first, I want to together talk about our first project perhaps, and then our first couple of years, and then the tough decision whether you want to do an MBA or you want to continue your career. And then as you become a manager, do you want to continue working your career towards becoming a partner, or do you want to exit? Why don't we start first with our first project? What other things do you think a consultant needs to do to thrive in the first project?
I think the first thing, at least for me, is to establish yourself as a safe pair of hands very early on. Someone who can take a piece of work, execute it in a way that is correct, that is insightful, that is quick, and provide leverage to the person you're working with.
Absolutely. As we think about the skill set, we should also think about what kind of team environment you're in which industry, as well as functional expertise you want to build as you continue your career. So, starting first with the industry, one example I want to give is that as I joined BCG, only after 6 months, I found myself in the Middle East working on a public sector project. Initially, I didn't know what was going on, but as I started doing a project there, I really liked the work that we were doing, as well as the impact that I was able to generate. So as a result, I actually spoke with my internal team and we extended my cross office staffing up to 2 years there. This goes to show that if you really like a project you do and if you're surrounded by people that you like to work with, that environment really pushes you more and it really helps you in your promotion.
Certainly. And the other dimension is capability or function, whatever different firms call it. But in terms of, are you focused on strategy work or operating model or process improvement, whatever it may be, and learning more about that area and just getting good at it. Because ultimately, if you're changing all the variables all the time, it does become hard to consolidate your abilities in each of the areas. So for me, for example, I spend quite a bit of time in doing operating model work. So that means developing the structure of an organization, defining accountabilities, thinking about governance. And I did that, for example, in utilities and TMT. So very different sectors, but actually doing the same capability across both.
Exactly. Now, let's say that we finished our first project and now we're thinking about the first couple of years in MBB. What kind of different skill sets do you think we need to build?
And for me, the big theme that comes to mind is ownership, starting from being someone who's executing to moving to someone who can take a piece of work and ultimately a work stream to achieve promotion and drive it. Is that something you found also?
Absolutely. In BCG, we have two different roles. We have associate and senior associate. And usually, yes, there is a natural step towards it, but the main difference here is the work stream ownership. In the associate role, you are supposed to own one work stream. When it comes to senior associate role, you're supposed to either own a more complex work stream or multiple work streams, but not at an extent where you're gonna lead a project. So it's a little different. All right. So let's say that after 2, 3 years, you got promoted, you've killed it, right? Now let's talk about a couple of options we have ahead of us. First, do I want to go out and do my MBA? Second, do I want to take other secondment or externship opportunities? Or third, do I just want to stick in and continue building my career? To illustrate this with an example, I joined BCG alongside a couple of other colleagues, and they actually did their MBA after their second year as an associate, while I stick with the firm and continued as a senior associate. But after my fourth year, they came back just right at the time where I was going to get promoted to consultant. They actually came back and joined as a consultant too. So in a way, they were able to save some time. And at the same time, of course, there are pros and cons that we can talk about it, right? In my case, I didn't want to do it because I thought I could build my skills much better while sticking with BCG. But I can also see a lot of advantages of going out and doing an MBA. What do you think?
Certainly. I mean, there's so many things to consider. One of the things is why you want to do an MBA. Some people want to do it to think about their careers in the longer term sense of what might excite them, what they might want to do. Other people might be just to meet more people. So there can be so many different reasons. I think within consultancy, the sense I get is you don't need an MBA to progress. Do you have the same
I
view?
do, I
Or,
do.
yeah.
So what I've definitely seen is that people do MBA for a couple of reasons. One of them is As we understand, consulting is demanding, so it is in a way very good break time, right, for a couple of years. But at the same time, especially for people who are for long term thinking about careers outside consulting, it is a great opportunity for you to network with the right people, really expanding your mind, right? So to me, for those reasons, I definitely see a point of why certain people might want to do this. Also, when we think about it, MBB actually sponsor their consultants. So if you have the sponsorship, if it is paid for, I definitely see a strong business sense if people want to do that.
Fair enough. There are other options when you're at that junction of that promotion, which may include, for example, doing an externship. So what that means is joining a company, an external company for example, 6 to 12 months, I think, typically, and it's an opportunity to gain experience in a new sector, or just even just working within a company, i.e., the people you advise, and just making you effectively a better consultant, I think, on the back of that experience, and or getting a perspective and getting some experience in an area which you may want to pursue longer term.
No, absolutely. At BCG as well, we also have secondment programs with many different NGOs and other organizations, and many people actually take up on that opportunity. All right, so let's say that we've got all those steps and now we became a manager. What do you think managers need to work on to be able to climb up the career ladder?
Well, it's worth reiterating, as a manager, you're responsible for the overall case, the overall question, and all the work streams that are being worked on by the consultants to deliver a recommendation to the client. So I guess as you progress from there, what I think I've seen is people taking on perhaps multiple cases as they progress into sort of associate partner roles. They'll be doing a lot more in terms of firm building. So thinking about proposals, pitches for new opportunities, client development work, the talent aspect in terms of getting more involved in recruitment and talent development, in terms of taking on maybe more mentees, so being a mentor to people. And so probably get more and more responsibility, right, from a firm perspective.
Exactly. So the way that also your performance is evaluated changes to an extent where, as you join the firm first, you're purely based on the way that you write your slides, the way that you do your financial modeling, and as you progress more, let's say as a consultant, just a step before becoming a manager, then also you're evaluated based on how well you can manage your micro teams. But as you become manager and beyond, you also now have the client relationships, and as you become, in BCG's language, when you become a principal, then we also need to start thinking about the proposals and many other responsibilities. So I absolutely agree with you. I should also point out that not everyone joins consulting to become a partner. I would say there are two main categories of people. First of all, the ones who cannot become a partner, and second, the ones who don't want to become a partner. Surely consulting is a very demanding profession. You need to always be above average. You always need to be on track to be able to get promoted. And especially when you think about the cut from principal to partner role, now there are more responsibilities regarding the sales part, right? So not many people can make it.
I agree with you. And that bucket of people who don't want to, there's so many different reasons, right? I mean, as a consultant, you have to travel. Your team changes all the time, or a lot of the time. You work on different clients, so that continuity can sometimes feel something that people don't want. They want continuity. There's a whole host of reasons, and some people really like that. They like the variety of client and team and workplace and all those things, and others want more maybe more stability, etc. So, but also important to maybe point out, I guess, as people become partners or thereabouts, they do probably work with certain clients more and develop those relationships. So the skill set changes a little bit, where you're actually deepening those relationships with those clients. You're looking to help them in new ways and create work for the firm. And some people don't like that kind of work, and others are just really good at it. So it's also a case of figuring out what you're good at and what you enjoy.
Besides talking about the people who are actually in the firm, let's also talk about the ones who left the firm and joined back again. What are your thoughts on that?
For sure, I've seen so many people leave MBB, gain experience elsewhere, progress, get promoted, and then come back to the mothership. And you might think they come straight back into the role they did before, or at a higher level, which is some of those things that happen. But you also get instances of people who will come back into a different team. As an example, Bain has been working a lot on its technology and analytics proposition over the last sort of 10, 15 years, whatever it is. And people who've gone out, gained experience in that area, have then been really helpful to the team when they've come back to help develop that capability. And so while before they left, they were a general practice consultant, say, then when they come back to the firm, they may be a vice president or expert partner, or whatever the title is, something more senior within a more specialist group, as an example.
So do you think you and I will come back to BCG and Bain then?
Only time will tell.
All right, thanks a lot for your time, Hamza. All right, that's all from us today. I hope you found today's video useful. If you did, please go ahead and subscribe to our channel, and we'll see you in the next video. Take care.